Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're zeroing in on one of the absolute most resilient and, honestly, most reliable plants you could ever bring into your shaded spaces. Whether you're literally just starting your plant journey or you're a seasoned green thumb looking to fine-tune your skills, we are going to walk through a complete beginner-to-expert guide on mastering the care of the Christmas fern. We'll start by locking down those foundational steps to keep it thriving, and then, we'll level up to some really advanced expert-level propagation techniques. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive right into this. You might be wondering, out of all the fern varieties out there, why on earth is this specific one named after a winter holiday? Well, the answer actually lies in its incredible hardiness. You see, the Christmas fern is famous for these gorgeous, leathery, dark green fronds that simply refuse to fade when the temperature drops. In fact, they stay vibrantly green right through the winter holidays, like even when they're buried under a thick blanket of snow. It's a plant that quite literally brings a splash of life to the absolute dead of winter.
So here's our quick roadmap for the explainer today. Number 1, we'll officially meet the fern. 2, lighting and climate essentials. 3, soil, water, and feeding. 4, troubleshooting and pests. And finally, number 5, expert propagation and tips.
Starting off with Section 1, meet the Christmas fern, nature's low-maintenance evergreen.
So botanically, this plant is known as Polystichum acrostichoides. It's this beautiful, elegant, fountain-like native of eastern North American woodlands, and get this, it boasts a lifespan of over 20 years. Right? That's a serious commitment. Now, it is a slow to moderate grower, especially during that crucial first year while it's busy establishing its root system. But once it actually settles in, it becomes a totally permanent, reliable fixture in your shade garden for over 2 decades.
And there are some pretty brilliant reasons why landscape designers and home gardeners absolutely love this fern. First off, it's reliably perennial all the way from USDA hardiness zones 3 through 9. That is a massive range of climates. It's fully evergreen, totally winter hardy, plus if you're someone who constantly battles local wildlife, you are going to be thrilled to know it's highly deer and rabbit resistant. Oh, and unlike some of those more aggressive ferns that just want to take over your entire yard, this one has a very polite, non-spreading clumping habit. It stays exactly where you put it, which makes it a fantastic, well-behaved, stabilizing ground cover, especially if you've got slopes.
Moving on to Section 2, lighting and climate essentials, mimicking the woodland canopy.
You know, the ultimate secret to success with the Christmas fern is actually surprisingly simple. You just need to recreate its natural forest habitat. If you can mimic that woodland canopy, the plant is going to do all the heavy lifting for you. So let's look at how that translates to light, whether you're keeping it outside or inside. Outdoors, it absolutely requires partial to full shade. Think about tucking it under the canopy of large trees or on the north side of a building. Now indoors, it needs medium to low indirect light. Something like a gentle east-facing window is perfect. But I do have to firmly warn you here, direct, intense afternoon sun will ruthlessly burn its leathery leaves. For the absolute best results, dappled light filtering through trees is your gold standard.
Now, right along with that dappled light comes the need for moisture in the air. You really want to maintain average to high humidity. Outdoor plants generally do fine just relying on their local climate and natural rainfall, especially if you group them with other plants to create a nice little microclimate. But indoor ferns, they face a much tougher battle against dry air, especially in the winter when all our heaters are blasting. So if you're growing this as a houseplant, you'll definitely want to use a pebble tray filled with water beneath it or run a dedicated humidifier in the room just to combat that dry indoor air.
All right, Section 3, soil, water, and feeding, the foundation of fern health.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is how straightforward it is to give the root system exactly what it needs for that 20-year lifespan. For the soil, you want it rich in organic matter, really humusy, loose, and well-draining. The pH should be slightly acidic to neutral, so somewhere between 6.0 and 7.0, which conveniently is where most standard garden soils already sit. When it comes to water, the main goal is consistently moist soil. Outdoors, once they're fully established, they are surprisingly drought-tolerant. But listen, during that critical first year, consistent moisture is absolutely vital. If you've got it in a container indoors, just water it whenever the top inch of soil feels dry to the touch. Easy as that. When we talk about feeding, this is one of those times where less is definitely more. These ferns are very light feeders. I highly advise you to skip the harsh synthetic chemical fertilizers entirely. They're usually way too strong and can easily burn those sensitive fern roots. Instead, think about the forest floor.
You want to top dress the soil around the base with a 1 to 2 inch layer of compost, or even just shredded leaves in the spring. And in the fall, just let the natural fallen leaf litter remain right there around the base. It acts as the perfect protective mulch and slowly feeds the plant as it naturally decomposes.
Which brings us to Section 4, Troubleshooting and Pests, Overcoming the Hurdles.
Okay, so to keep your fern in top shape, we need to talk about common roadblocks. The absolute most critical botanical threat to your Christmas fern is something called crown rot. This is unfortunately a fatal condition where the plant's crown, which is that central growing point right at the base, becomes mushy and just decays. So why does this happen? Usually it's caused by soil that's just too heavy and waterlogged, or very commonly because the fern was planted way too deeply into the ground. Your soil must drain well to prevent the plant from getting what we gardeners call wet feet. And always make sure the crown sits perfectly level with the soil surface.
Now, if your fern isn't looking its best, this quick comparison should help you diagnose the issue right away. If you're overwatering and heading dangerously toward root rot, you're typically going to see widespread yellowing on the new fronds and a mushy base. On the flip side of that, if you're underwatering or maybe exposing the fern to way too much direct sun, you're going to see crispy brown edges or these bleached sun-scorched patches. So just compare these distinct symptoms directly. That way you'll immediately know if your fern is drowning or burning, and you can tweak your care routine fast. As for pests, let me reassure you right now, the Christmas fern is highly pest resistant, but it's always wise to keep an eye out. Indoors, you might occasionally spot some fungus gnats hovering around the moist soil, or maybe some scale or tiny whiteflies. Honestly, some yellow sticky traps and a mild insecticidal soap will take care of those no problem. Outdoors, especially in very damp, heavily shaded areas, your biggest nuisance is probably going to be slugs and snails chewing holes in the fronds, or maybe the occasional caterpillar. But really, overall, serious infestations are super rare.
And finally, Section 5, Expert Propagation and Tips, Mastering the Masterclass.
So, as we elevate your skills to full botanical mastery today, a really common question we get from beginners is, does a Christmas fern bloom? Well, the answer is no. Just like all ferns, it doesn't produce any flowers, and it doesn't produce seeds at all. So how on earth does it reproduce? Well, it relies on an incredibly fascinating, ancient alternative method. It reproduces through spores. These are generated in specialized structures called sori. If you actually flip over and look at the back of the taller, upright fronds in late summer, you're going to see these small dark dots lined up in perfect, neat rows. Those are the sori. Now, propagating from these spores is definitely an expert-level, year-long challenge. It involves cutting a frond, letting the microscopic dust fall onto a piece of white paper, carefully sewing that dust on a sterile medium, covering it up to trap humidity, and then waiting weeks or even months just for this moss-like film called a prothallus to form. And from there, tiny fronds eventually emerge. It is an incredibly rewarding project if you've got the patience of an expert. But if you want a much faster method, propagation by division is far easier and honestly a lot more practical for most of us. So the crucial point is following these steps. First, early in the spring, select a mature, well-established clump, something at least 3 to 4 years old. Second, take a spade and carefully lift the entire root ball right out of the ground. Third, you're going to slice and divide that crown, making absolutely sure every new section has a healthy set of roots and a few little developing fiddleheads. And finally, replant those divisions immediately at their original depth and give them a really good watering.
Okay, let's rapid fire some pro landscaping tips, just to round out your new expertise. Number 1, I know it's tempting, but resist the urge to tidy up your garden in the fall. Do not cut back the old fading fronds. They actually naturally lie flat and insulate that delicate crown from freezing winter temperatures. You only want to trim them away in early spring. Number 2, use companion planting. The dark, leathery texture of this fern looks absolutely stunning next to the softer foliage of hostas or coral bells. Or try planting a cinnamon fern right behind it for this amazing layered woodland effect. And lastly, how do you identify it for sure? Get up close and look at the leaflets. Every single small leaflet has this distinctive lobe at the base that points straight up, perfectly shaped like a tiny Christmas stocking or a sleigh.
And I think that just brilliantly illustrates the total charm and utility of this incredible plant. It's tough, it's beautiful, and it's a true survivor. So I'll leave you with this final thought. How will you use this resilient 20-year evergreen in your own shaded spaces? Are you going to use it to stabilize a difficult slope? Maybe plant it alongside some colorful hostas? Or perhaps you're going to test your new expert skills by propagating it from spores.
The choice is completely yours. And now, you've got the expert knowledge to make it happen. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy planting.